What's going on, guys? Eric Tate here, back with another video. I am going to discuss what happened with my little Southwest Airlines experience. Real quick, the reason why 3 full flight videos were filmed in a matter of 4 days was because of the fact that when I booked the American flights, which I booked on that Sunday of the trip, I did not know my cousin wasn't going to have a car, but I already had plans to see people, like my best friend Joy and my great-grandmother and my grandparents in the Dallas area. So, and my uncle didn't want me to cancel my plans to visit with him. After I told him I said, well, I also have plans to see people down here too. He's like, oh, okay. And I was like, here, you and Jackson talked about this. Here's a solution I just thought of as me and him were talking about this. I said, how about I can book a Southwest flight from Dallas Love Field all the way to Oklahoma City. And he and Jackson were perfectly okay with it. Jackson was who I went to this NASCAR race with. And so on June 11th, about 9:30, I took off from XNA. I headed down to Dallas Fort Worth and was getting off the plane about 10:46. About 10:45, I was off the plane. And then I saw my great-grandmother, I saw my grandparents, I actually stayed the night with my grandparents. And then Saturday rolled around, 5:30, woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Me and my grandpa both did. We headed to the airport. The Dallas Love Field Airport. Not Dallas Fort Worth. Even though he says they live closer to Dallas Fort Worth Airport. So we basically drove across Dallas to get to Love Field. I get to Love Field. It's about maybe 5:45 in the morning. And I get checked in. I check in, do my check-in, and then go through security. I was probably through security about 6:15. Line at Love Field on the Southwest check-in was long. I was probably in that line for 20 minutes, and then the security line, though, I was only in it for like 5. So, but security is also, to me, I think going through security is actually a lot faster than checking in. Because basically, it's just like, just make sure everything's out of your pockets, and then everything's out of your bag. Everything except for like your clothes is out of your bag, and everything's out of your pockets. Do that, you're probably through security within like a minute, not even that. But I don't know why, real quick, I don't know why, but this security TSA line I got in, they didn't make you take everything out of your bag, and they did not make you take your shoes off, and they did not make you empty your, well, okay, they made you empty your pockets. That was it. So I got through security, and it's still about an hour and a half before I boarded. I was supposed to board flight 7 to Houston, and then from Houston, I was supposed to fly up to Oklahoma City. So plenty of time for me to go get like a bag of something to eat or whatever for my flight. Well, little did I know I was about to have a long day ahead of me. Because then now, here's where everything went downhill. The flight so a storm came into Dallas Love Field Airport. Basically, we had to shut down the airport. Basically. Well, okay, not basically we had to shut down the airport. Had to shut down. The ground people had to come inside because the weather was getting bad. But and then so they said. So I went to the customer service. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna miss my connection. Is there a way I can get on a flight and make my connection somewhere else?" And they said, "Yeah, we can get you in through Phoenix. That should be an on-time departure." Well, the Phoenix flight did also get delayed because the plane was coming in late. The plane did not land until about the time we were supposed to start boarding. And it takes they need about maybe 20 minutes to clean the plane. So it was at least going to be 20 minutes delayed before and then there was only, so basically meaning as soon as we got to the gate in Phoenix, I basically had to run across Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport just to make my next flight. Well, I was already sitting down on my flight from Dallas Love Field to Phoenix. When on the PA, I heard Eric Pate, if you're on the plane, please make your way to the front and make sure you have your belongings. No, Eric Pate. No. The PA said, Eric Pate, if you're on the plane, please get your belongings and go to the front of the plane. So I did. And they told me there was no way I was going to make my connection in Phoenix. I was kind of disappointed. I was disappointed at the fact that even though I was asking around about it, they still should have came up with that solution before I boarded, but they didn't. But the cool thing was, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and admit this now before I get more into the story. Lion Air 610 and Ethiopian 302 are the two main reasons why I hate the 737 MAX. Because I don't like that plane at all. I understand Boeing said it is fixed. I'm not saying I don't trust Boeing, but I don't want to hear that 2 more Maxes crashed of the same issue that happened to, like I said, Lion Air 610 and the Ethiopian 302. Anyway, sorry I got sidetracked there. Because the flight to Phoenix was supposed to be on the 737 MAX. And like I just mentioned, I hate that plane. So they said, you're going to Chicago Midway. And I want you to go to customer service. And I want you to talk to them and tell them what I said. So I went to customer service. I said, I'm Eric Pate. I just got asked to leave the flight from Love Field from here to Phoenix, because I was going to make my connection in Phoenix to go to Oklahoma City. And the lady did kind of snap, but I thought at first, for the first couple hours, 48 hours or so, I thought she snapped towards me, but it actually turned out that she was snapping towards the situation, not me. But she said, why didn't they tell you before you boarded? Honestly, I want to know the same thing, but they probably didn't know. So she printed out both my boarding passes, the one to Chicago and one to Oklahoma City. She said, okay, so you're going to take off from here at 10:30, about 10:45, 11 o'clock. You're going to get into Love Field about 12:30 to 1 o'clock. And then you're going to spend about 3.5 to 4 hours in Chicago. And at 4:30, you're going to be, about 4:30, 5 o'clock, you're going to be taking off for Oklahoma City. You should be there hopefully no later than 7. I'm like, all right. And she said, here, we feel bad. We're going to give you what is basically for our first class, which is Business Select. Southwest doesn't have a first class, by the way. If you have flown Southwest, you notice they don't have a first class. But they have a Business Select, which is basically like first class. And so they are. So basically, Southwest also does have something called the open seating policy, which I will explain at the end of this video. I will explain what that is. But it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go into, but at the end of the video, I'll go more into detail what that means, because, you know, on American Airlines, you get assigned seats, or United, or Delta, or Alaska, Allegiant. Actually, Allegiant I actually don't know. Frontier, I don't know either. But I know American United and Delta has that for a fact. Maybe JetBlue too. But anyway, so then I flew to Chicago. I got on the ground I actually got on the ground at 12:59, so in about 5 minutes later, I was at the gate. Because where we exited the runway, the gate was right there. The gate we were supposed to pull into. We were supposed to pull into B9. It was right there. Seriously, it was just right there. Right next to the runway. So we pulled into B9, and I walked all the way to the A concourse. It was like to Oklahoma City, just played on my phone. And then a storm hit Chicago. But here's a cool thing too. Here's another cool thing besides the fact that I didn't get to ride in 737 MAX, because like I mentioned, I hate that plane earlier in this video. I mentioned that. There's a Southwest livery I really was wanting to see. And right when I got to my gate, no, right before the storm hit, I saw it took off. The Southwest Airlines Florida one. I never thought I was going to see it. And I quickly snapped those 2 photos because the fact that, oh my God, like I mentioned, I wanted to see that plane. But I had to quickly snap those 2 photos because the fact that I didn't have time to get my camera focused. Luckily it did. Luckily it was focused because the plane, like I mentioned, was taking off. But then a storm hit Chicago and all flights got delayed by 2 hours, and basically it was causing a huge confusion at the airport. Like, there was almost every flight had a gate change. Every flight that was supposed to depart about 4:30 all had a gate change. Like, I was supposed to depart out of A9, then it moved to A11, then it moved to A16. So basically every flight out of that airport basically had a gate change. So I ended up parting out of A16, and luckily, just like when we landed, our takeoff runway was right there. We took off about We took off about 7:15, and we were on the ground about 8:45, because I remember leaving the plane about 8:50. So I remember calling my uncle at about 8:55 to let him know, hey, I got off the plane. Hey, I'm down at baggage claim. I'm ready for you to pick me up whenever. I was in communication with my uncle basically the whole time. And then when I told him, hey, the plane's here, I just said, hey, I just let you know when I'm bored. So I let him know when I boarded. And then I'm like, hey, I should be there hopefully no later than 9:30. It was about, like mentioned, about 8:45 when I eventually got to OKC. And I call him and he's like, are you ready? I go, yep. You know, it's like, I'm at baggage claim, even though I didn't need to use baggage claim because I just had my a bag on me, just one bag, just a carry-on bag. Because I usually travel light, because all I need is just a couple pairs of clothes and my chargers for my cameras, my Fitbit, my phone. So, alright. Before this video ends, I mentioned I was going to talk about Southwest open seating policy. So, what So, like I mentioned, it's self-explanatory. It's not assigned seats, like I mentioned earlier. Basically, it's like first come, first serve. If you ever heard that phrase before, first come, first serve, meaning the first person who gets there gets a cake or whatever. Or gets preferred seating. Well, so basically, Southwest is a lot like that. So, but instead of everybody just trying to rush on the plane, they actually make you line up. Based off of what your order is. Or what your position is. So, what the first thing they do is they call Group A up, and luckily I was in Group A both times. So they call Group A. Group A basically gets to be the first 60, because it's 3 groups of 60. Group A is the first 60 that gets on. If you have the boarding positions A1 through A15, you are called what is business select, which is meaning you get to be on the first 15 people on the plane. I was A4 both times, so meaning I was the 4th person on. Well, okay, after pre-boarded, then they called the groups up. Pre-boards are like people who have disabilities and who are in wheelchairs, whatever, they get to get on first. But then they will say, okay, group A1 to A30, welcome aboard. So then everyone goes up, scan the boarding pass, and we get on the plane. I was A4, so I was the 4th person in Group A. And I just sat down in the first window seat. Because you guys know me, I love the window seats. And plus, I think it'll be weird making a full flight video from the aisle seat or the middle seat. So, and it's basically just saying, oh, I can sit basically wherever I want on the plane. That's what it basically means, but I like it. I like it how this way actually a lot better than the way American does it. But then again, American does have first class. So, yeah. You guys know, I flew first class twice. To and from Dallas. Real quick, I do want to mention, I went to Charlotte this year. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know if I'm gonna ever make it official. But if I do, definitely will let you guys know before it happens. We're gonna go back. I'm thinking about going back. But next year, Memorial Day weekend. The weekend I actually went there. But here's the kicker. I'm not just gonna go for the Hall of Fame like I did when I went to Charlotte a couple weeks ago. No. We are actually gonna go, and I'm actually gonna go and watch Coke 600 in person. So I'm still thinking about that. I haven't yet made it official. I'm still in the thinking about it. I don't know if I want to, but I'll let you guys know if it's gonna happen or not. Anyway, that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite. Ask will be awesome. Eric Pate, don't forget the hates. Oh, real quick before I end this video, you may think I'm dumb, but the next morning after this incident I was talking about, I did send Southwest a complaint email, but I did not include the part that they gave me business select. But at the time, I was just mad. At the time, I was just not happy with my experience. But yesterday, a couple days ago, I did write them a compliment email saying I totally forgot to include the business select deal that they did to me at left field. But at the time, I was just mad. And explain how I even put the complaint case number in the compliment email. But I just told them look, at the time, I was just mad. And I didn't mean to complain. I'm terribly sorry that I did complain, even though y'all gave me business to let. But at the time, I was just mad. So, I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way, just so you guys have the whole story. Like I said, current favorite, be nice, go be awesome. Eric Pate, don't hate. See you later.